back, Chula Vista. We are sitting here at our senior roundtable, and we have a very special guest today from the California State Senior Legislature, Mr. Luis Monge. Welcome, Mr. Luis.
Well, thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you, and hopefully we have a very cordial conversation with you.
Absolutely, I know we will, and I want to start off by letting the viewership know they probably have not heard of the California State Senior Legislature.
I'm sure they haven't.
But we want to inform them with what the legislature does and how effective it is in the state of California.
Well, one of the things that I must tell you is that the California Senior Legislature has been in existence for approximately 38 years. It was created by an individual from Salinas, California, which is a piece of land that is the greatest agricultural land in California, and the legislator was very adamant about some of the issues that seniors were addressing or being neglected. So he decided to get a group of volunteers together, and over the course of 38 years, we have a very strong group of volunteers. It's 120 members, consisting of 40 senators and 80 assembly members, the same concept as a regular California legislature. I am a senior senator, and I basically represent Senior Senator Ben Hueso's area, but I can work anywhere in the state and help any of our fellow volunteers accomplish their goals, and I'll be more than happy to oblige. But as far as we're concerned, the California Senior Legislature has been very successful in that approximately 260 ideas that came from our group had been implemented and were signed as laws that would benefit the senior, disabled, and veteran community all the way up and down the state.
Well, let's talk exactly that. It's a great advocacy group that focuses on senior services. On March 13th of 2020, the world closed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. How has the pandemic affected how the state is handling senior services and programs and resources?
Well, one of the things that I have been finding out through our connections in Sacramento, we, the California Senior Legislature, have an office in the state capitol, and we have one person that is a manager of our officers, and we depend on volunteers to help her accomplish a task that she comes on an everyday basis. For instance, we know for a fact that the state, as a result of the pandemic situation and problems that we've had, they have improvised a huge increase in the amount of money that will be used for the next, this 2021-22 budget that will really help the programs that are being used by the senior communities all the way up and down the state, because we see that seniors were the ones that were the worst group of people that were included as far as being part of the disease, including my wife, who passed on January 19th. But I also want to say that a lot of these hospitals are bending over backwards in assisting a great majority, not only seniors, but anybody that goes into those hospitals. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and as soon as they found out that I was, in a situation that I could be out of the hospital, they released me and they sent me home, and they gave me medication for the next few days. And as soon as I completed the medication, they followed up with a very, very concise interview, and as a result of that interview, they decided that I was no longer able to, affect someone else. However, they recommended that if I went out on the street, to be able to use myself with the cover on my mouth and stay away the 6 feet that all the agencies, all the health agencies all the way up and down the state are advising people to do that. And also, with the new concept of the vaccine, I urge everyone, get vaccinated. It's the only way that we should be able to release this tremendous disease that is affecting our senior community.
It sure has, it sure has. And as we start looking ahead, you mentioned the budget and how it has positively affected senior services because we are setting aside money and funds so that senior programming can stay in effect. And even more so now because we saw how the pandemic hit our senior population the greatest, how deadly it was for the senior population, and that is a great reason why we have to wear a mask every day. What are some differences that you'll see in the future? What are some things that you anticipate in the future when it comes to senior programs?
Well, for one thing, I know for a fact that seniors are now more abreast of what is at stake if they do not comply with the Health and Human Services agencies. The human health agencies are all they're doing is advising us as what's best for us, and also all the members of our family. You don't necessarily have to be a senior to be able to get the vaccine and take care of yourself, keep the distance. And when we have, like they call herd immunity, then we're gonna be a much better world where we might even be able to get back to normal lifestyles, and if I may, and be able to once again be able to go back to normal. But unless we do not do as our agencies and recommendations by our health people, we're going to be suffering the consequences of our negligence in not able to comply with all these rules.
Mr. Monge, I know that the California State Senior Legislature has a big event in May that happens every year. Talk to us about how special this event is and what it means for the state. Okay,
usually we have what we call Rally Day in Sacramento in the month of May. And what this is that we get seniors from all over up and down the state, and they meet at the Capitol, and they have legislators that are always in support of our programs, and they speak for and different programs that they support and what have you. And we rally these people. We have people from Bakersfield, Riverside. They bus all the way to Sacramento. It's a sacrifice that you might not think so, but when you're in your 70s, in your 80s, and you're in a bus for 10, 12 hours, it's a sacrifice. But we need to commend those folks that do that kind of thing, because it helps all the seniors all the way up and down the state, and be able to have the ears of the legislators listening to what our concerns are, so that they will in turn focus on some of the ideas that, every year we forward 10 ideas that we decide which is the 10 best when we meet once a year in Sacramento, and we forward it to them, and one legislator will pick one or the other or whatever, and then they run it through the system, and implement the law, and it isn't just like, pick it up and it's over there and the governor signs it. It has to go through the system. It has a procedure. We have people that are not necessarily in control or supporting these programs, and we have people that do, so they get these hearings just like anything else, and eventually at the end of the day, we hope that we get enough support from all these different legislators and be able to support as much ideas as we can forward to the regular state legislature in order to be able to help them much better.
Well, Mr. Monge, let's talk about just that, the support. How does somebody get involved with California State Senior Legislature? Or what is something that is an expectation of just a normal California resident trying to get involved at the magnitude that you are involved?
Well, basically, in order to be able to become a member, you must go through an election. It's an election, unlike the ones for the regular assembly members or senators or whatever, but you go to your local Health and Human Services Agency Advisory Council, and they are the ones that oversee these programs. And what you do is you go out there, you apply, and they give you, there's a protocol to follow. It's very simple, or not necessarily be able to become a member, or voting member, if I may, but you can also volunteer. When we have our session in Sacramento, we have volunteers that help us, guide the new members as to where the Capitol offices are, what buildings you're supposed to go to these hearings, And you know, the Capitol is very cumbersome. You know, they have the old building and the new building, and if you're not familiar with the building, you can get lost real easy. So this is why we have volunteers that when we go to the session, they volunteer and we offer them certain perks so that their expenses are very limited, but they also learn the procedures and whatnot. And if they feel like that is there something that they want to follow, then they will go back to their jurisdictions and they apply, because we're always having openings. As you know, when you're in your 70s and 80s, you know, we have people that they passed on and they had to be replaced. So there's a continuous openings that are available all the way up and down the state, and there's always the opportunity to participate in a lot of these things, like Senior Rally Day. We need people to stuff envelopes. We need people to inform the community all the way up and down the state, their own agencies, the Triple Agency on Aging, and all these different agencies that deal with senior issues. We contact them and let them know what we're doing, so that Rally Day would become 1,000 people showing up in front of the Capitol. And the legislators, they see 1,000 seniors out there in wheelchairs, walkers, and whatever, and you know, even blind individuals go there. So it isn't the fact that because you're blind or you're a walker, you can't go. Anybody can go, and the premises are in a sense accommodating to just about anybody that is in society.
Well, as we wrap up our conversation here with Mr. Monje, I want to commend everything that he does for our community, for the entire state of California. Luis, we're going to be having a series with you because we have plenty of topics that we want to discuss, from nutrition to senior rights, fraud going on in our system, how to get involved, advocacy, lobbying for senior services, and to expand a budget in our state so that we can continue to take care of our seniors, because they have worked the entirety of their lives, and it's now our turn to take care of them. I'm excited to have that series with you, but I wanted to end it on a positive note and something that maybe you can share with our viewers at home on some words of advice, how to handle our current situation and how to keep moving forward, because we're almost there.
Well, I think that one of the things that we should do is just keep following the recommendations of the health department all the way up and down the state. Cover your face, even if you have your vaccines and everything else. We don't know who the other guy is, and he might be infected. And you know, the fact that you have the vaccine doesn't mean that you cannot get it. They had cases where people that had the vaccine, and the next day they end up with the COVID. So please be careful. Do as these people recommend in the health and human services agencies and all these different agencies up and down the state, and listen to the people that are in control, and not necessarily the news media and all these magazines and people that are trying to tell you that the vaccine is illegal or is this and gonna do this and that. Don't pay attention to all these people that are confusing you. Listen to the people that are doing the right thing for the whole state, the health and human services, and do as they direct, and you will not miss, and you will be well taken care of. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank Mr. Monje for joining us on our Senior Roundtable. We look forward to having him on future shows as we discuss many more topics when it comes to our senior population, especially pertaining to the city of Chula Vista. I want to thank you for your time today, and we will see you soon here at our Chula Vista Senior Roundtable.